right, so welcome back. DJ Vic Vapor with you again, and continuing on with our Bitwig Studio DJing and performing live course. Now I've put my window in the middle of the software so that we can talk a little bit about some of the fun things now. We're progressing along here. Promise we're going to get to a good finale and have a lot of fun, and I'll get you going in the right direction. But what if we want to put some effects on our different sounds? We've got our stems in here. We've got things organized and got our controllers set up, ready to go. But one of the cool things about playing live is being able to, on the fly add effects. I mean, for me it is anyway. It's a ton of fun. So let's take a look at how we can do that with this particular setup and this particular controller. So let's see. We've got when you first open Bitwig, I think it has just one send effect already assigned for you, but I added a second one for this video and for this tutorial. But if you ever want to add send effects, you can add multiple send effects. You just right click out here in the open area and add effect track, and that'll take you where you need to go. So we've got 2 effect tracks assigned here, and what we want to do is put, if I double click on it now, we can see down in the effects or instruments panel, or device panel, I'm sorry, I had to think of what the name was. We have nothing there's no effect there. So let's go ahead and hit the plus button. I think we're just going to go pretty simple here. Let's get a Bitwig internal device. Again, I don't recommend trying to use too many third-party plugins when you're performing live, just for the fact that if they aren't extremely solid and you haven't tested them, then you could be dealing with a lot of issues as far as potential failure. So just be cautious of that. Try to stick to internal effects, and Bitwig has enough. And the fact that you can take and create device chains and create all kinds of wild effects, you guys can explore on your own what sounds good. We're just going to go with simple, straightforward stuff here. But the beauty of Bitwig, of course, is that we can really create some complex chains. So I'll go with the delay 2. We'll just bring that guy in here, hit OK. And now on my first one, I have a delay. On the second one, let's go with a reverb device, and back in here, and a reverb. So we've got a delay and a reverb, pretty straightforward. So how do we utilize this? How do we, make this happen for us? So on this particular device, I have within the script, I have the power of using, hopefully, let me pull this back. Maybe you guys can see this okay. I have the power of using these top knobs along my rows here to affect my my sends. And one of the ways I can do that is, I think when the script starts, it starts out on the pan. So initially there, you can see on the software there, it's just a panning parameter I'm doing on the drums track, left, right panning, stuff like that. So what happens is if you go down to the center here and you hit the sends button, now it's set up for send 1. You can see now when I turn this knob, it's going to go to the delay, which is our first send there. Now, what if I want to use the reverb and still use this same knob and reverb on my drums? Well, I simply hold down the send button, and then I click this pad here, the number 2 pad. And now, when I change the style, it's assigned to the reverb. So you hold down the send, and you go back to 1, it goes back to the delay. So holding send, and then 1, 2, 3, it's just how many effects tracks. It's the the numberation of your effects tracks that you have set up there. So let's take a listen to kind of what that would do for us. Let's say I'll fire up the vocal track here, and we'll send it over to the delay. And what if we wanted to do that on our, let's say, on our ambient park track? And let's try number 2. Let's try giving the perk some reverb. So there we've got some delay going, and we've got some reverb going. stop everything. So that's a nice, easy way to, of course, in your live shows to set up effects and assign effects. Now, again, your MIDI controller might be different. So if you're doing effects, you can simply, right-click, add the effects track here, and then you can right-click what parameters you want to assign within your MIDI controller to have those go out to the various sends and things like that. One of the other things I want to talk about real quick is now that we've got our stems in here, to make them sound a little bit more polished and professional like they might have in our actual track arrangement session before we exported the stems. What I like to do is put something on the master. And in this case, you can use anything you want. And again, I caution you when you're dealing with third-party plugins. I can't state this enough because I've had this happen where I've been in a show and third-party plugins caused an issue, and it's a little bit embarrassing, especially from professional level. It's never something you want to have to endure. So make sure that whatever you're using, you've thoroughly tested it at home or in your studio, or you've given it like a really, really hard workout within the set and the way you have things set up that no matter what, it's not going to crash. Ultimately, you kind of want to focus on internal devices because they're somewhat more stable and they're going to use less CPU. But I've got the Neutron 2 here, and I've just got some basic settings of the track assist. I asked the track assist to give me, a basic setting here. So let's take a listen with and without it and see what we get. So I'm going to fire up the whole track. I'm just going to A-B it a little bit, let you guys hear the difference. It's not doing a whole lot, but it's giving it a little bit better sound. Just something slightly more polished. So again, just be very, very cautious of what you choose to use and how you do that. But that's a nice, easy, effective way to get your stems kind of back into that loudness area and, that more polished sound and not as, not as gritty as maybe they are without any treatment. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to our next video and see what else we can explore. So.